So Lana, I know you and I hung out in Westwood and we had a great time. We were able to film a little bit there, and somehow, some way, we lost the recording. So we're back on Zoom trying to get the knowledge that you dropped to student athletes, parents, and families. So what you and
Yeah,
I had
totally.
talked about was so next step is a transitional coaching program for student athletes and for parents. So we were focusing on the parental aspect of the
Yeah,
transition from their student athlete being at home and being a part of their everyday life to transitioning to their new role as parents. So can you speak to a little bit about that, sort of what you've seen and the struggles that the parents have had and the learning curve and again, embracing their new role?
yeah. I mean, that is what it is. It's their new role in their student's life, which as a parent is really difficult. They're used to, specifically student athletes. They're used to being in the details of their lives because they were needed for rides or for school stuff that had to be taken care of because their athlete was busy and doing other things. And so parents, I saw were really having a difficult time releasing the control, not only control, but just being able to know how their daughter was doing at whatever it was in life or in school or whatever. So now they go to college and they're not in the details of their students' lives. And that's challenging for parents, especially when they don't really know how the adjustment's going, because inevitably they do know that their daughter's going to have an adjustment of being a freshman in college and now being a small fish in a huge pond. There's a huge adjustment for them as well. And so um, letting go of that and understanding that and trusting that your daughter's going to be okay, but also being okay with maybe seeing them struggle a little bit, as a parent, that's really, really difficult. So being able to connect with you, and being able to understand, and you can talk them through of like, this is what their daughter's doing right now. Their daughter is busy, and if you haven't heard from them today, it's okay. It's going to be okay. Their daughter is doing great things, but it is challenging for sure, for parents to let that go a little bit. I always found it so interesting when I was a coach. The freshmen would come in and we get them checked in, and there was always just like enormous homesickness, right? I mean, these freshmen are used to being home and in the comfort of their own home with their parents and siblings, and so we would maybe give them a Friday afternoon to Sunday morning or something off, or there'd just be a brief time, where we'd give the student athletes off, and sure enough, those girls were on their way to the airport. I mean, it could have been 24-hour break. They were heading home. And it's interesting as you see them get older, those visits tend to be a little fewer, just because they're a little more settled. So if there's something I would say to parents is it does get easier. Your children do get adjusted. You as a parent get adjusted of not having them home all the time. But it is for sure an adjustment.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say to the parent that maybe is getting a call daily because their daughter's on a roller coaster ride, right? That
Yeah.
first year is ups and downs and joy and pain and sadness and happiness and all of those emotions. What would you say to the parent who gets that call every so often about, I hate it here, I hate my coaches, I want to go home, and then the next week they're sort of on cloud nine? How would you kind of suggest parents to handle that?
Great question, because that's going to happen, and that does happen. It always is helpful when the parents are, the main. They are just solid in their confidence in their daughter of saying it's going to be okay. I know it's hard, and helping their daughter maintain perspective of, hey, remember when you were a ninth grader, or hey, remember when you're in eighth grade and you were playing on the high school team, or you went to that club team and everyone was older and it was hard to adjust, and you went away from home for the first time for camp or whatever you can recall on an experience, and say, remember how scary that was. This is the next step, and this is the next adjustment in life that you're going through, and it's going to be difficult. You're going to have to find your way, but giving them that confidence that you've seen them through hard times and you know that they we'll get through it and know that tomorrow is going to be a different day, and it's going to be okay.
Yeah, no, I think that's great knowledge because as we have seen, it is a daily roller coaster, and
Yeah,
emotions change from day to day and week to week, and parents sort of have to just ride the course and maybe not try to rescue them.
totally. Which,
What would you? Yeah,
listen, it's so easy for me to say on this Zoom with you. It's hard. I have two young kids, and as it's so easy to give advice, but I do know as parents that's challenging. So I also would tell parents to find their person that they can talk to. I'm a counselor, so I'm going to be biased and say, maybe a therapist or someone that can help you as a parent make that transition as a parent, because it does require a lot of just talking through and being able to have someone there for you as a person, as a parent, to help you through the adjustment. But no doubt that you would help in that, right? And you have the knowledge of a coach, you have the knowledge of an athlete. You've seen it, you've been there, done that, you have years of experience. So that really does help, having someone that's in the mix and letting them know, like, this is what's happening, and your daughter's going to be okay.
well, I think parents also have to have faith that they taught them well, right? That your job as a parent is to
Yeah,
sort of send them away at some point to be ready for whatever challenges next. So I think a parent
yeah.
being confident that they taught them well is really important in the process. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, and being confident in the coaches. I do. There is a transition too of their daughters was recruited, right? And as a recruiting coordinator, your job is to get the best athletes that you think are going to fit into your program and come in and making a difference. And there's an adjustment of when their daughter comes, they're no longer recruit, right? And so the coaching relationship is still strong, and you're there for them, and you're there to support them. But I also think parents, in that transition, they think like, oh wait, like a phone call, we can just remember when you were recruiting her and we talked all the time, and then there's an adjustment where I'm not calling all the time, right? I'm their coach, and I'm there for them. I'm seeing them every day and helping them. But I remember parents also going through that transition of understanding now that their daughter is in college. The phone calls don't happen all the time, and that is okay, and that's not a bad thing, and it is healthy, and that doesn't mean anything besides, I'm now trying to recruit for a different class of students. So I would just tell the parents that also maintaining perspective for yourself and understanding that it is going to it's going to be okay. It gets easier, but there is a transition, no doubt.
Yeah, that's I don't think anyone could have said it any better, Lana. So appreciate your time. Thanks for dropping that knowledge. Again, this next step is not only for the student athletes, it's also for the family and the transition that they're experiencing also. So we value both of those transitions and people, the family collaboratively going through this process together. So I appreciate your time. Always great to see you. And again, thanks for dropping your knowledge.
Yeah, of course, no problem.